Most poor and declining neighborhoods in the United States have kids failing school, dilapidated housing, and unsafe neighborhoods. Many organizations will come in, define the problem, and then create programs. The organizations and programs flourish, and not the neighborhood. Bottom line, the problem doesn't go away. It only gets worse. I'm Lori Crever for Communities First Association. These organizations depend on a continuing cycle of poverty to maintain the clients they need, basically the poor, for their organizations to survive. Most of the programs that address the needs of the poor deliver goods and services to them in ways that create dependency. CFA's approach partners with the community to identify problems and create solutions together. We take a multi-layered approach to developing neighborhoods using asset-based community development as its foundation. Asset-based community development is a model that works with neighbors to identify needs that the neighborhood is willing to take on itself. This model starts with community leaders creating habits of community listening.
We do community listening by asset mapping surveys, and the way I do those is I basically show up at your house, and if you're there, I do the survey with you. It only takes a couple minutes, and a few of the questions we ask on our surveys are, what do you like about your neighborhood? What can you change about your neighborhood? What assets do you have that you are willing to share with others?
When residents share their time and talents, when they come together to address both immediate and future needs, when they start naming and changing the systems that perpetuate poverty, neighborhoods are remarkably transformed. Organizations partner with CFA to hire community connectors to conduct the ABCD activities like community listening and asset mapping. Connectors are the point people for ABCD work in the neighborhood. These individuals are frequently from the neighborhood, although occasionally relocate into the neighborhood to conduct the work. Sometimes they are single moms, former gang members, or college students, all of whom are passionate about their communities.
The biggest accomplishments that I've seen in the neighborhood is definitely building genuine relationships with neighbors and being kind of a family. I can go over to meet them at their house, or they feel welcome enough to come into my place, and just exchanging life together. And being a community fellow has been rewarding. It's working together with my neighbors. So I'm hoping that wherever I go, wherever God takes me, I will be able to use these things, these tools that I've learned here.
Some of the work that the community fellows do is seeing neighbors start to meet together to address community problems like crime or gang violence, that type of thing. They also work with under-resourced youth by doing neighborhood after-school programs and teen Bible studies, and Communities First Association helps support all of that work.
CFA assists in the training of the community-based partners and community connectors to further the level of development within each neighborhood over a period of years. ABCD is a consistent platform for good leadership practices. A transformed community contains 7 key attributes: shared vision, sense of community, ownership, leadership, resources, knowledge, and skills, ongoing learning, and shalom, creating peace and wholeness within individuals and the neighborhood overall. CFA works with community-based organizations, or CBOs, around the country from rural Maine to Los Angeles. The community connectors at these organizations work through a variety of programs. Some are AmeriCorps members through programs like Public Allies or VISTA. Some receive stipends from funding raised within the community or provided by the city for community work. Still others agree to volunteer a certain number of hours a week in the neighborhood in return for free rent in the neighborhood. There are a variety of ways in which the community connector positions are created, and each is unique to the neighborhood that the connector is a part of, and the community organizations out of which they are based.
Kingdom Causes partnership with CFA has been really instrumental to our work on the ground here in our community. CFA provides us with a network of folks that we can meet with and learn from. Also gives us a framework for asset-based community development, the work we do day in and day out. Gives us the tools that we need to meet those folks and help transform our community.
CFA is a really good organization from a networking standpoint, from a tool standpoint, from a consultation standpoint. When you're doing Christian asset-based community development, it's a very lonely job. There aren't a lot of people out there doing it. Most of the infrastructure, both in the government and even in the church, is not set up to support long-term development. So the net result of all of that is you run into a lot of obstacles, you run into a lot of closed doors. It can be very frustrating. So being able to have people that you can talk to who've done it, who've walked the road before you, who might have different things to try, and be able to find out what works and what doesn't work with them, just makes the work stronger that you're doing, as well as encourages you so that you keep on doing it.
When a community leader or connector is following the ABCD model, they have stories of breaking through personal, communal, and systemic isolation, developing community assets, and changing systems that perpetuate poverty. When residents work together, it is amazing what begins to improve in these communities. At first, we see things like a cleaner neighborhood, a new after-school program to fix up a neighborhood park or start a community garden, events, and many other improvements. Within 2 years, neighbors are naming and working together on things they want improved: crime reduction, community safety, and street lighting. In later years, this includes larger issues like improved education, zoning changes, reducing homelessness, and much more. We want to see stronger communities where residents work together on the issues they care about. Citizen empowerment and participation are the bedrock of democratic systems. Community connectors are bringing participatory development practices to more neighborhoods. They listen, connect, and step back so that the neighborhood can work together to address their problems. Our connectors have been able to accomplish quite a bit in the time they dedicate to their neighborhoods. On average, over the course of a year, a community connector is able to hold more than 20 community events or meetings, mentors approximately 25 people, and identifies more than 30 potential leaders in their neighborhood to actively participate in the development work. We highly value the work of our community connectors and are excited by the service they provide to the neighborhoods across the country. We welcome the chance to bring them into more neighborhoods and increase the asset-based community development movement further in our neighborhoods.